Hey guys, Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with my mid-month wrap-up for October. It is currently the 15th, and I've actually read 9 things, but I can only talk about 6 of them. So I'm going to chat about a book that I'm in the middle of listening to that might be a DNF, and also my current ebook that I'm loving, and I'll add those at the end. Just to give you guys a little bit more, I love doing mid-month wrap-ups because by the time I get to the end of the month, I read so much that I don't remember too well what I rated books at the beginning of the month, so that's why I do my mid-month wrap-ups. They just help me more. But the first book was a beta read, which means I got to read a book after the first draft or two that the author writes, give feedback, and they will go and make changes and do edits before the final draft is published. So first book I read is a beta read. Then I listened to the audiobook of A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Hawley. I got this from my library, and this one was not bad, but not like amazing. So I feel like I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. I feel like 3 is too low to rate it because I was getting into it in the second half of the book. It's definitely long. I don't think it had to be this long, but the heroine is a witch and her mom's not really the best, and she feels like she's never like adequate enough as a witch, and she actually does like plant magic, and something's happening to the forest area like around her town, and she's really worried about nature, and she accidentally summons a demon. So the demon shows up and he needs to make a deal with her. Like that is his whole purpose in life, and he's a very old demon. So he is very used to tricking people into giving him their souls by like bartering what's most important to them. And so he's gonna have to do that with her, but they end up hooking up and falling for each other, and he kind of realizes that he's starting to feel more like human emotions and why that might be, and it was a lot of fun. I feel like it's perfect for spooky season. I probably give it 4 because it's more so like the time I'm reading it too. I feel like this was just the perfect witch with a demon falling in love, and they have to fake date because her mom is pressuring her, and so she's like, hey, this is my boyfriend actually. So there's fake dating in here as well. It's really fun. So 3.5 will probably round up to 4. Then my next 2 books are 5-star reads. I actually did a mood reading vlog, and I need to mood read more often because when I do, I pick up 5-star reads. Bourbon and Lies by Victoria Wilder is a romantic suspense, and it was so good. I love a good wit sex story, so like the heroine is in witness protection. I love that, and we kind of are like giving clues throughout the book of what happened to put her in witness protection program, but she shows up on this bourbon place. I never know what to call it because it's the distillery, but she's on the land that like the family owns the distillery, so it's like kind of a ranch that she's living on, and she moves across from the hero who is very damaged because you learn in the prologue that he used to be a police officer and he was in love with someone who worked on the force, and she dies in the prologue. So he's quit. He now works for his family full time, and he hates everybody, and he doesn't want to ever let anybody in again because he feels like it was his fault that she died. So he sees her and he's like super grumpy and mean, but they banter so well together. Obviously fall in love, and he has brothers that are also at the ranch, and I'm really excited for their books, and she kind of gets close to the daughters of one of his brothers, and it's just so good. And then you also have this mystery of like what happened to put her in witness protection, and like if she's safe where she is, and he starts poking around at her background because he obviously used to be a police officer, so he has some connections. He's like, who is this girl? I want to know more about her. So it was so good. The romance was amazing. I love this so much, and I'm excited to have a new romantic suspense author to check out. Then I picked up the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, which people are all picking up the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, which I still really like to give that 4 stars. This book is a 5-star book. This book is about our heroine who's turning 30. She's kind of freaking out. She's like, I need to live an adventurous life. I need to get out there. And she finds these like notes and books in her bookstore, and they kind of hint at her taking adventures. And so she's like, okay, like someone's leaving these for me. I might as well like do the adventures that they leave for me. And the guy is kind of like known for being a player. He is the person who runs like the tours on boats in their town during the summers. And so people kind of like don't take him seriously, and they're friends. And he has a big crush on her, and he's actually 25, I think, and she's almost turning 30, so he's a little bit younger than her. And he's like, hey, I'm gonna do these with you, because one of them is like going out on a boat, and one of them is like going to a festival, and I don't remember if it was like pumpkins or apples or something, but she had to go somewhere to do that. And so he helps her, and he really likes her, and she is very hesitant because she doesn't think he'd ever like her, and he kind of feels insecure because he never graduated from high school, so he is definitely very self-deprecating and kind of demeans himself before other people can. And she's like, hey, you're a really impressive person. She's like, you've done so much with your life, and you are so smart at what you do. And she's like, don't put yourself down because of that. And I love both of them trying to figure out like what they really want out of life. This is definitely a lot spicier than book 1, and I loved it. They definitely have absolutely amazing chemistry, and I just love the bookstore setting. I love their small town. I love her friends. Everything about this was just like small town perfection. I could not get enough. I was obsessed the whole time. Please read this, 5 stars. Then I had another beta read, so I can't talk about that one, but then I went on a road trip. So I went to Kentucky, actually a lot of times this month. I went to Kentucky 3 times, and so the 3rd time I went, on the way there, I listened to All the Little Raindrops by Mia Sheridan, and this was on KU Read and Listen, which is why I picked it up, and this one's definitely more on the thrillery side of like romantic suspense than romance. So I gave this one 4 stars. It was definitely a very solid mystery. So the hero and heroine are kidnapped together, and they actually know each other. So his father murdered her mother, and his father murdered her mother because, as the story is told, they were having an affair. The father broke it off, and the mother got angry and like tried to attack him, and so he killed her in self-defense. That's the story. And so they are kidnapped together, and they're kind of given ultimatums. They're like, you come and you're rented, and if you don't want to come, we're gonna take his fingers. And then it's like, oh, if you're rented now, if you don't come, we're gonna pull out one of his teeth. So it's like kind of ultimatum, and it was really good. And then they do escape. The back does say that they escape because it's a time jump, and then we have him as a private investigator revisiting the crime and current day crimes that kind of might be similar to what happened to them. So it was really good. It was definitely very fast-paced and engaging, even though it was a pretty long audiobook, but I did really like it. The romance was just not my favorite, so that's why I didn't give it a full 5 stars. The romance I could have used a little bit more of, but I'm really excited to pick up some other ones by Mia that are definitely more on the romance side, because this one, like I said, is kind of like Bad Mother, where they're definitely more suspensey, thrillery than romance. So still really fun. Like, I love a good kidnapping romance and putting in situations of life or death, so I did really like that. But once they got out of that, it was a little slow, but then we got really fast paced at the end when we were kind of unraveling everything. So I really liked it. The twists were fun. It was a good book. Then the 3rd book I cannot talk about is a book that comes out in January that I did a content pull for someone. So that means I was hired to read it and pull quotes and scenarios for social media. So because that has not come out yet and that's a while away, I will not discuss the book, but I did do a content pull for this one. Then, because I went to Authors in the Bluegrass, I did get to meet Jill Ramsauer, and I was checking out her books because I'm kind of in the mafia mood. So I decided to get the audiobook of Craving Chaos, and this one I'm giving 3.5, and I don't know if I want to round down or up just yet. I need to think on this one a little bit more because it's a survival romance, which I love. I love it when they have to just get out of situations together, and so the 2 of them are from mafia families, and I love the heroine. She was definitely a very independent, kick-butt heroine. She could take care of herself, and she's like one of the like mafia women, so she's not like your typical like docile like housewife kind of character that's kind of like helpless, virginal kind of thing. She's the opposite of that. Like, she's great at self-defense and making decisions for the mafia, and so she is like delivering guns somewhere, and the hero is the son of, I think this dad was actually the head of their mafia, and he passed away recently, so I think he might be the head now, maybe. And they have to do a gun run together, and they end up getting like ambushed by people and kidnapped, and they're being taken on a plane somewhere, and they end up escaping and falling into like the Canadian wilderness. And it's the middle of winter, and so they find this like old hunting cabin and have to survive there for quite a few weeks together. And the only danger though is like a bear, and then like a bear shows up again, and then they have to like find food, and it was all right. I kind of wanted a little bit more from it, and then most of it did take place in this cabin, and then when they got out, I was like not super excited about the plot. So I might be rounding down to a 3, but maybe this wasn't the best one to start with in this series. It just sounded the most exciting to me. She does have one that's a Bodyguard Second Chance, but that's not the first book in the series, so I wasn't sure if I wanted to start with that. So if you have a better book by Jill Ramsauer I should read, let me know. I bought a different one that she recommended when I was at the signing, which is like a BDSM club romance, which I don't know if I'm super in the mood for. I kind of want more mafia, so let me know what I should read. Then I listened to the audiobook of Love and Other Conspiracies by Mallory Harlow, and this one I'm giving a solid 4 stars. So this one was a lot of fun. This is a romance about our heroine who is working for a like podcast kind of company with shows and stuff, and they tell her that she's going to be cut if she doesn't come up with like a really great idea. And so so she finds this guy who talks all about conspiracy theories, and he's really great, and she's like, let's get him on the podcast, and that's who her romance is with. And so it's really fun to see them like go through different things of like trying to find Bigfoot and like going to a haunted house, and she doesn't believe in any of it, but some things get a little spooky, and he is just the sweetest. I really loved his character, and she actually had dated a coworker previously that ended well, and he's like a pig and so gross, and I really hated him, and he actually like continues to be a problem in the book, but the hero is just really sweet and falls so hard for her. And it's really cute because he's supposed to do the podcast by himself, but they have such great rapport together that they end up having to do the show together, and they have like a fan base then of their followers. And I just thought it was a really fun, cute read. Definitely very unique in the sense that it kind of has to do with like conspiracy theories and the hero believing in like aliens and all these different things, and I thought it was fun. I gave it a 4-star. Definitely really great for spooky season as well if you're looking for a romance to read right now. So those are the only books that I have read, but I am in the middle of 2. And one of them is probably going to be a DNF. So the one I'm probably going to be DNFing is If I Stopped Haunting You. I started this in my mood reading blog, and I like was not feeling it, and I knew going in it wasn't going to be the best because it has an average of 3 stars on Goodreads, which is not good. And I was so excited for this one though because the cover's cute. It takes place at a haunted mansion in Scotland, and the heroine is just very insufferable. Like, she is really angry at a lot of things, and I feel like there's not a lot that's likable about her, and she really hates the hero because they are both native authors, and she feels like he sold himself out to publish and become famous by not like writing native in his books like she does. And so she basically like humiliates herself in front of him in the beginning, and then goes on a writing retreat, and he's there, and she's just super mean to him, and then all of a sudden they're like just jumping on each other having sex because they cannot keep their hands off each other. And so it felt like it went from hate to lust very quickly, and I just feel like there's really no substance or connection between them, and I just really don't care. And there's like kind of a ghost happening, and it's just not the best. So I don't know if I'm gonna force myself to finish. I don't even know how much time I have left because I'm listening to this on Libro FM. It just tells me how much I've listened to, so I don't know how much I have left. I'm on chapter 28 out of 39, so I don't know. I've listened to 7 hours. I'm 70% through, so I guess, okay. I have about 30% left, so maybe I haven't, okay, it's about an hour of reading left. I might finish this, but I'm just like, because I really don't like DNFing things, but I'm just not feeling it. So maybe if I just have extra time, I'll read it. But I needed a treadmill book. So because I was reading so much for work, I can't read that on the treadmill because I need to like take notes and like really dive deep into the book. But on the treadmill, I've been reading Sunday Morning by Julie Ann. I've heard it's really emotional. I heard it's really angsty, so I'm reading it. It is a boyfriend's brother romance, and the heroine reminds me a lot of the heroine from The Summer I Fell, the first Elizabeth O'Rourke book. The Summer We Fell in the summer series. Her dad is the local like pastor, and so she's raised very religious, and she is dating the golden boy in school. They have a really small class, and his dad owns like this farm and the land that her family like lives on, like her family's a tenant of his. And so she and him are dating, and she kind of wants to explore their relationship more. She wants to have sex, and he is hesitant because they've been taught like a lot religiously, like you have to wait until marriage, and she doesn't even know if they want to stay together because he wants to chase his dreams in Michigan and be a baseball player, and she actually wants to go to Nashville and not go to college, and she wants to be a musician. And so they kind of agree that they aren't going to be together, but she is falling for his brother. So they're still dating, and they're still dating for the summer, and his brother is infuriating. He likes to push her buttons, he likes to make her uncomfortable, and he really likes her. And he used to be in the military. He's 24, I think 25, and she's 18, and they start sneaking around. And that's all I want to say. I'm at a really good part in this book too, and I'm flying through it. I'm 60% of the way through, and I really like it. So if that sounds interesting, pick it up and let me know if you liked it. And I don't know if it ends on the cliffhanger because I saw that there's a second book, so I'm kind of nervous, but we shall see. But those are all the books that I've read and or are currently reading. Let me know if you've read these and what your thoughts are, and let me know what you're reading right now. I would love to hear. And if you've made it this far, leave me a witch. I just looked and there is a witch, so leave me a witch in the comments below. And that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.